somebody who don't like nobody. I want somebody who don't like to party. Sit in the crib and sip a hot toddy. Sit in the kitchen and whip up a salad. Sick of these niggas, they say I'm attracting. They wanna chill with the main attraction.
It musta hurt when I rubbed your fucking face down in the dirt. Know it might look new to you, but I did it first. Pussy berserk, I made him pay for all my merch. Put him in the hearse. I want somebody who don't like nobody, not a social butterfly. I want somebody who don't like the party, they just wanna get in my thighs. I want somebody who quiet, I'm on a brand new diet. I hear these niggas be talking that talk, but all of these niggas be lying.
I want somebody who don't like nobody. I want somebody who don't like to party. Sit in the crib and sip a hot toddy. Sit in the kitchen and whip up a salad. Sick of these niggas, they say I'm attracting. They wanna chill with the main attraction.
I'm indie, I'm antisocial. Don't touch me, don't rush me. Can't trust none of these bitches or niggas. Leaving hearts below pictures. All y'all undercover lovers. On my dick from a distance. Thought I wouldn't do the distance. Jungle pussy make a difference. Hating on me, bitch, it makes sense. She just wanna be my best friend. She trying to generate my birth chart. These bitches want me to make sense. They should just make a salad. I'd rather go and write a ballad. Chillin' in my Fenty Savage.
I want somebody who don't like nobody. I want somebody who don't like to party. Sit in the crib and sip a hot toddy. Sit in the kitchen and whip up a salad. Sick of these niggas, they say I'm attracting. They wanna chill with the main attraction.
Hey Black woman, hey. Welcome to the Black Woman Vibes podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest. So let's get to toasting. VCNA. If this is your first time joining the Black Woman Vibes podcast, here is our mission statement. Black Woman Vibes focuses on empowerment through resourceful, informative guests, data-driven podcast topics, and exclusive subscription services that promote a shared experience of Black Woman Vibes. On today's podcast episode, we'll be discussing stealthy. In particular, how women use their stealthy feminine energy to get what they want. And we're going to use the examples of somewhat recent of women in particular using their stealthy energy as a means to an end and succeeding. And then we're going to see how other women use their stealthy energy that gets them trapped up in an endless cycle of effery or gets them caught up in playing both sides of the coin and ending up losing the intent and being discovered as a fake. So let's just jump right into the podcast episode. Hey y'all. So I don't know if this is going to turn into a full-blown video. It's just going to be something I record for a future date and just save in my archives of sorts. But I think I know why men don't like women who have control and ownership over their bodies. Especially when it comes to dancing and physical arts, they have like a charm or je ne sais quoi about the way that they move. Like how we in society like throw fits and we ooh and we ah over Naomi Campbell's signature model catwalk. It's kind of like that essence of women, right? And this sounds like it's an ancient DNA code. Like I was having this conversation with a friend, and I think certain things of the human experience that happens across the board or to a certain group of people, like that's a genetic code. You know how trauma's passed through the bloodline, and that's why we supposedly Black people have PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder, and how a lot of our trauma stems from slavery, which to a degree is very much true, but we're not even going to talk about that in this video. I think there's certain things, traits, behaviors, that are genetically passed through either the human collective or passed through a certain group. Like, for instance, black people, like, are black. Like, that's a genetic code that is passed through, black people. Asians tend to have more almond-shaped eyes. That does not mean that you can't find almond-shaped eyes, folks who are not Asian, but that's a trait, a very prominent trait within Asians. That's part of their genetic code. And you know how we all as human beings go to sleep and we all breathe and we all experience like happiness, sadness, anger. Like that's a default programming within humans. I think there are certain things, again, like these are genetic codes. That's what I was calling them, right? I think for women in particular, us being able to sway our bodies, our essence, our charm, but more so how we use our bodies, more so how our bodies are built. It's an aura that is Venus energy. And if you know a little bit about astrology or you just know anything about women stereotypes, like women are from Venus, men are from Mars, that type of trope, the same thing can be applied to this situation. Women just ooze sexuality and sensuality. And depending on how our body is shaped and how people perceive our bodies, us in our raw form, our shape, our bodies are seductive. When you hear conversations from these heavily patriarchal systems, they always cover their women head to toe, or they have so many restrictions on their women, especially when it comes to clothing. And their reasoning for that is because they say it's uncontrollable. They cannot control themselves when they're around women because their bodies are so alluring and it's so attractive. Men in heat, men have multiple erections a day, and it's just so hard. It's just tantalizing them. It's just teasing them. So that's their excuse to be misogynistic, sexist, and anti-woman, right? I think y'all might drag me, and I'm so for women empowerment, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think to a degree that is true, but I think it's on the same scale as when a man has a ripped body, especially if you're a hetero or cis or whatever the term is, you're attracted to men. And you see men and they have a ripped body, and it doesn't have to be anything like The Rock, but they're physically fit, they're tall, they're handsome, they're young, not too young on some Epstein stuff, but young enough where it's like, alright, he ain't got no dad gut, he ain't got no wrinkles, he ain't got no gout. So women are automatically like turning heads and attracted and trying to figure out who he is and what his name is and what we can find out about him, but we're just analyzing him. And some women are even bold enough to even step to him, right? But I think that is a DNA code. I think that is just what is. That's what pheromones are, chemicals, other chemicals that we give off, the way that we smell, the way that we look, the way that we walk. So I think those are all encoded in our attraction. But that's not what I'm talking about. Women have a natural charm. Some women who are able to understand that and harness that energy, they get what they want. Insert the Eartha Kitt, insert the Anna Nicole Smith, insert even Grace Jones. These are iconic women for multiple reasons. You can even put in Marilyn Monroe. And they had a seductive way about them. In their own way. It wasn't copy and paste 1930s femininity, how to get a man. They all executed it differently, but they all had a je ne sais quoi that men wanted and women wanted to be. The reason why patriarchy associates women's body as such evil and tempting is because our bodies remind them of snakes. And I'm going to make the connections going to blow your mind. Hold on. And in the Bible, because most religions are stemming and offshoots of Abrahamic religion. So that is the major three: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And they both have similar beginnings. I think they veer off after the Second Testament. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's the common thread. So, when we're in Genesis, the beginning of the Bible, and beginning of humanity, supposedly, what was the grave mistake or miscalculation, error, whatever, that Eve did? Even though they were supposed to be perfect, but they still ended up making a mistake. But anyways, Eve ended up taking a bite out of the fruit, shared it with Adam. They realized that they were naked. I don't know why being naked is a sin, but anyways, they realized that they're naked, and they realized that they have the ability to think for themselves. And that was a grand sin. Having autonomy and realizing how you want to present in the world was the biggest sin. Sounds like communism. But anyways, but what was the downfall? Who does humanity blame, especially patriarchy? They blame not only the snake, but they also blame the women, right? Especially when women are autonomous, we are brave, we go out and do our own thing, we defy the odds. We're also labeled as sneaky, as seductive, as manipulative, as a succubus, as a Jezebel, and they're all slimy and disgusting and seedy and selfie type of names. It speaks deceptive and sneakiness, just like the serpent. And I think a coded memory of humans is that we do fear snakes. Whether it's religion has been slammed down our throats to the point now that is in itself genetic memory passed through the DNA, I'm not sure. But we fear snakes because they have no legs. They make no sound unless they're hissing or they're, I don't know, slithering around some crushed up, dried up leaves, whatever. But they are silent. They have no legs, right? But they come in different shapes, different sizes, different widths. Some are poisonous, some are not. Some have fangs, some don't. Some fester in dens, others don't. Some of them are as big as humans, some of them are bigger than humans. Sometimes you don't see them coming because they're on the floor, and sometimes you can't hear them coming because they don't hiss and they're not making a sound, and sometimes you might just be walking and minding your business and they might fall from a tree and land on your shoulder. So I think that is a genetic memory that's encoded in human memory from our more, I guess you could say, primitive days. So that's a way for us as humans to be aware, to be detail oriented, to always be on the defense. Your survival bets on it. Especially before modernization and before the Industrial Revolution, there were parts of countries that had a lot of snakes and they had to clear out the snakes. That's why when you hear folk tales, they incorporate a lot of nature, a lot of animals, and the snake tends to be, most times than not, evil than it is good, right? So when snakes come and we see snakes, another thing that is charming about snakes is the fact that they don't walk singularly, or not even walk, they don't slither singularly, so it's not a linear thing. It is more horizontal, so it's a sway side to side. And in some cultures, they play flutes and they play other instruments to charm the serpent, right? And lull the serpent to sleep or get a certain reaction from the serpent. That is very similar in the way that women who are seductive, especially we're talking about folk days, we're talking about folk tale days, we're talking about village days, we're talking about when people had to eat organic because there was no such thing as Monsanto in modernization. So when women wanted to get their way, they would use their natural essence, which is their body. And we know this because of how sex workers were trained and how sex workers were treated. So in these times, women who were women of the night or who were escorts or women who were sugar babies or side women or whatever, they were often depicted as being voluptuous. And not like, black woman voluptuous, but like Marilyn Monroe white woman voluptuous. So they were often depicted as having sway in their hips and being alluring, seductive, bright eyes, stealthy, curvaceous, tempting, says the right thing, does the right move, looks the part, is on par, and the guy is just so hypnotized. He's goo goo, gaga, can't speak, can't focus because he's just so allured. He's on every single second. He is just hypnotized by her rhythm. And when you apply that to women who dance and women who use their bodies, men get very, very angry because I also talked about this with my friend. Men have a genetic memory in the DNA that happened in ancient past that is triggered when women are in authority, when women have the leadership, when women can quote unquote overpower a man. This is why a man will jump off a cliff happily with the bros. But if a woman says, honey, take a left, don't tell me what to do. I'm a man. I know what to do. I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a man. Don't tell me what to do. Like, men are very triggered, very, very deeply bothered when a woman is in a position of authority, leadership, or has her own mind, or gives a totally opposite response. Men get triggered. And they get triggered because it reminds them of their genetic memory in the DNA of some events that happened in human history where women were in power, women were in control. And I talked about that with my friend, and that's a totally different conversation. It's super long, and we're not even going to go there. That might be a conversation for another day. But it's the seductiveness that men hate because they don't like not being in control, especially after something that is so quote unquote weak and inferior and is his rib and the neck that turns his head and the backbone of the community. But they don't like that thing having too much of an influence, or him thinking that thing, which is the woman, having too much of an influence. But when it comes to sex and when it comes to how women's bodies charm men, then it's not my fault. I was a victim. I had no control. I was weak. I was tempted by flesh. This is Jezebel. This is stealthy. This is like a snake. It's that Eve energy. It's that Lilith energy, right? And this is why in those communities, they heavily police women's bodies, those patriarchal communities. But also, I believe it's because there is something in women, biological women, born with the uterus, whether it produces a child, whether it doesn't produce a child, whatever the case may be. But if you are a woman, I truly do believe that in our genetic coded memory, passed out through the DNA, that our bodies and the way that we sway, and especially when we're talking about something like gyrating or twerking, I think that is a part of women of color's genetic memory. And I'm not just speaking black women, I mean women of color across the board. Because when you go into these people's cultures and you go into certain practices and traditions, all women of color have some form of gyrating or twerking in their culture. Whether we're talking about belly dancing, whether we're talking about good old-fashioned twerking, whether we're talking about dances from Carnival, there is something about the woman that likes to gyrate and twerk. And I'm not saying it for the male gaze. Like, get the male gaze out of it. Get the westernization, hip-hop, naked, patriarchal, sexist, misogynistic, anti-woman bullshit out of it. I'm talking about pure, just people tend to be happier when they're in the sun versus people tend to be happier when they're inside watching rains fall from the clouds, right? I'm talking about just things that are naturally applied to humans. Like, we all breathe. We all like to be loved and cared for and respected. Like, those are traits found across the board. I think with women, our genetic coded memory is twerking. And I'm not saying twerking in a sense of, maybe twerking shouldn't be the word, because I can see people just like, like, no. I'm saying in a way of swaying your hips. There's something about moving your hips as a woman that gives us confidence, that makes us happy, that balances us, that puts us on in balanced mood. I say this because, like, think about it. Have you ever seen a woman who twerked or gyrated or moved her hips and she was mad? Or she was upset and she was crying and she was angry? You can't move and sway and charm and move your body and get into the rhythm when you are mad, when you are angry, when you are upset, when you are under stress. It just does not hit the same. It does not hit right. You're annoyed. So when women do this, we do this because we're elated, or we're celebrating, or we're happy, or we're seducing men, or we just do it for ourselves. But we always do it in a lighthearted, upbeat way. Whether it's for money, whether it's for our personal enjoyment, whatever the case may be, when we do this, it puts us in a balanced mood. So I think this genetic coded memory in the DNA of women reminds men of snakes because of the rhythm and the sway and the back and forth, and how it charms and it hypnotizes and it gravitates, and it even is able to put men in a frozen state, in the manner of, like, have you seen certain men get lap dances where they can barely move, their eyes are all popping out of their heads and they're all stiff and they're barely gasping, and they're just frozen because they're just so elated, they're just so shocked, they're so surprised, they're so happy, they're so everything. That can be applied to when you get shocked and you're in fear. Fear can be stifling. Fear can keep you stuck. Fear can keep you stagnant. That's why a lot of people don't leave a shitty situation, because of fear. So the same reaction is felt in the same scenario. And women were often depicted with snakes, or being associated with snakes, or a sneaky, stealthy behavior. Whether we're talking about Medusa from ancient Greek mythology, whether we're talking about Eve, who's often depicted as a snake herself in a physical form, or with a snake on her, or snaky, stealthy behavior. You know, Adam gets the pass, even though he's supposed to be the man and the smarter and bronzier and first chosen, but Eve gets the blame and he doesn't, even though he was there first. But anyways, whether we're talking about Jezebel's spirit, how she's sneaky and conniving and manipulative, whether we're talking about, even when it comes to villains are often represented as being reptilian or reptilian-like. You don't know them. They're two-faced, that they are sneaky, and they have snakish qualities. The fact that we even call someone a snake, we're applying that they can't be trusted, that they will backstab you, that they will sneak up on you and betray you, right? But when we're talking about women and oppressing women, or trying to control women's bodies and autonomy, there is something in regards to how women's body, for men, and their encoded memory passed through the DNA, that is very distraught or very triggered when women are able to hone in on their bodies and their femininity and their essence and how they display or present themselves in this world. That triggers men, and it triggers men on a deeply encoded memory level, where they retaliate, whether it's full-blown eradication, like in village times when people did have to exterminate snakes and exterminate other creatures that were menacing to them. And they would pay good money if someone within the village could do it, or someone around the village, or someone out from the village that is known to get these creatures away. Or they try to cover the woman's body, right? So if you can't kill the snake, then you would push him out, right? So this is why we have, metropolitan cities. In metropolitan cities, it's very modernized and industrialized. So there's not too many natural creatures. Like, you might hear maybe a bear pops out here and there. You might see a wild turkey during November in the streets, but you're not going to see a full-blown moose in the middle of Times Square. Like, you're not going to find a full-blown cow in Cincinnati. Like, you're just not going to find that. But once you get into, like, the rural areas and the areas that are not so paved and it's not so city-like, you don't smell the fresh and crisp smell of smog, you'll see these animals that you don't see within the city. And I think that is why men are so irate when women have control of their bodies. And I'm not even talking about the most shapeliest of girls. I'm not even talking about the women who are stacked like the stallion. I'm talking about women in general who know how to use their woman, their essence, their je ne sais quoi, their sensuality, their bodies, their whatever. Even if it's not their body, but it's the way that they speak or the way they articulate themselves or the way they match things together, they pair things, whatever their natural skill, and it's tied into their femininity, whether it's people, particularly men, think that they're weak, women in general, so they don't see the game that's being played on them, whether it's a certain man likes a more traditional woman, so she is able to tie in her traditional skill sets with her own agenda. So whatever the case may be, but she's skillful and she's crafty. And that's why men hate women who are able to control their bodies, utilize their bodies to quote unquote control men to get what they want. Because in the men's genetic coded memory, there was something that happened in ancient past where women had control, and that did not benefit men. And that's why they're so up in arms and ready to fight, ready to quote unquote eradicate the snakes, meaning femicide. Even if they're not trying to control men or trying to gain any type of authority or power that illuminates over men, they still don't like women having that over themselves. Because if women realize the power that they have over themselves and the power of their true sisterhood and their true unification, men would be dogged, walked, and they know it. Just women don't know it. So hopefully y'all can understand where I'm coming from with this. It's kind of long-winded. Hopefully it makes sense. But there is a gift to certain women. I think all women have. Honestly, I think all women have this skill. But there are certain women in particular who know what that is for them and recognize it in other women and are able to tailor and culture that je ne sais quoi of women, and they're able to do major things. Whether we're talking about the models and the celebrities, the beauty icons, or everyday women, because they are able to use what they got and finesse it to get the best lives that benefit them, that puts them in a winning position, and they are unapologetically me first. They are come in their authentic self, or even a self that they curated, because sometimes it's not authentic. Sometimes it's straight up plastic surgeon, but they're still able to finesse and get what they want. Because with the surgery or without the surgery, that je ne sais quoi that they tapped into and that allures men to do what they want or lures people to do what they want, they'll forever be able to live and live well. These certain skills you can find in people who are involved in other areas of life. Like, there are people who are just master craftsmen, right? They can always configure some shit. Like, you give them some scrap metal and they made a helicopter. Like, that's a special skill trait that most people don't have. Or some people are natural business owners. Like, they can sell snow to an Inuit. Like, they are able to flip shit, to calculate shit, to be able to hustle or sell something. That's a natural gift.
Some people got the gift of gab. They can throw blows. That's a natural gift. Some people are naturally talented in artistry. They can turn paper foil and some cloth into a masterpiece. Like, there are people who just have certain gifts. I think everybody has certain gifts. But those who are able to recognize what they have and they craft that, those are the ones who go down in history. Or even if they didn't have the skill, but they were able to finesse like they do, they were able to be placed in history. So it's all about finding yourself and finding what is your purpose, crafting the fruit out of it, and being the best version of yourself. So it always goes back to you. You are the magician within your life. And women know this in regards to their bodies and how they can utilize their bodies and utilize certain traits to get a certain reaction out of men. And men know this. And that's why they're always trying to oppress the feminine energy. And that's where I'm going to leave this video.
Plot twist. This is actually a 3 video in 1 type of thing we're going on. All of these are different scenarios that kind of fit into the topic of femininity and stealthiness, and like how women, if they tap into their natural gifts, can literally rule the world. But because they invested in dumb shit like prison dick or social climbing rather than social mobility. And there's a difference between the two. Social climbing is basically, I'll do anything to be in an in crowd, kind of like Kim Kardashian, right? Parasitic as fuck. And social mobility is basically, I worked my ass off. You know, it's kind of like the boomer story. Yeah, we didn't have nothing, went to war, came back, worked in some corporate America job, coasted through, bought my first house only with $25, went to college with 4 pennies, you know, that type of story. And then you made your way into middle class and upper middle class and maybe even rich status. There's a difference between the two, and we're going to use the example of Monica with her trash ass decision to get with or try to save CMurda. And we're going to talk about Tomi Lahren, who's now somewhat of a feminist now because she got curved, because they saw the hunger, the lust in her eyes to want to be that girl. And they gave that position to Candace Owens because she's really that girl. Tomi just plays the role, and she played it poorly. As you can see, my video will not be AdSense approved. So if you would like to show your gratitude via donation, you can always hit me up either on Cash App, $ BlackWomanVibes, or Venmo, BlackWomanVibes, woman with an A, not an E, because it's only me, she, her, we. Now back to your regular scheduled broadcast, and I hope you enjoy. Hey y'all, I want to make this quick little, I guess, I don't want to say PSA, that's a force, but I guess like this little excerpt. I'm not going to turn this into a video, but I'll probably attach it to some video in the future. Just like when I was talking about Meg, I plugged in that boozy thing. I don't think these niggas deserve a full-blown video because like niggas are niggas, like the fuck. But I did want to say that Monica, good old, just one of them days, right? That boy is mine. Angel of my, like, I'm a whole 90s baby, so you know I want to throw that in there, right? But even when you're successful, I don't know if she got a Grammy. She might have a Grammy. I'm not gonna Google it. Y'all tell me. But even when you're successful, you're known. Like, you sell albums, you're on tour, you that bitch. Like, you're iconic. You can't leave that nigga phallus alone. Even when it's behind bars. Like, you gotta think about it. You are literally wish fulfillment, the star card. How many people are going to be stars? How many people are going to be rich? How many people are going to be iconic? How many? Then lower those numbers by sex and race. She's a black woman, even smaller. So you're able to make a name for yourself, a legacy for yourself. You have options galore. You can fuck anybody. You can be married to anybody. Because you that bitch. Rightfully so. And who do you choose? fucking prison dick. Like, you cannot make this, you cannot make this shit up. The mammyism is on 5,000. Like, what? What? I'm disappointed and I am embarrassed. Secondhand embarrassment. Like, I'm going to tie this into the whole Megan situation. They say allegedly Megan's hooked up with Future. On God. If this is true, I'm not going to be making no videos on Megan again. I'm be honest with you. I love her music. I like what she represents and she stands. She's a black woman. She's tall. She's curvy. Like, she has her original body. Like, I like what she presents. However, if she keeps making goofy decisions after goofy decisions, and no shade, she's an Aquarius, so like goofiness is kind of, it's kind of within the zodiac. No shade to Aquariuses, but y'all really be out. Y'all be doing shit that I really be on some like, well, did you really think that was a good idea? Like, anyways, let me not shit on people's zodiac. Because if you come for Tauruses, I'm going to be very, very shooketh. But, yeah, mammyism. Even when you are top tier, even when you are exclusive, even when you are of pedigree and access and elitism. Let's be honest. Because Monica can get shit done faster than me or you. So yes, she's a part of a certain class. And you choose prison dick. Now, it's been said, if a nigga do more than 2 years in prison, he's definitely testing dick. This nigga she's hugged up with, this nigga that she's spending commissary money with, he's been in prison for close to 20 years. So it's a good estimation. This nigga don't even like pussy no more. This nigga don't even know what pussy look like no more. He's a born again virgin at this point. If we believe that he's not fucking niggas, and we know niggas love fucking niggas. We know these, whether they motherfucking Bobby Valentino, whether they're Young Thug. Not, well, I can't say Young Thug, but I really meant to say Young Buck, but shit, Young Thug probably too, with his cross-dressing ass. Yeah. We know this with these niggas who keep getting out there, Trey Songz. So she's out here with her mammy Kate. She got 3 kids, divorcee, but she's out here caping for a nigga in prison. A nigga who his own rich ass, paid ass, access ass brother make him say, na 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 na, make him say, was not even able to get him out. And he has resources. He has wealth. But even his own biological can't get him out. But it's a bird, it's a pain. No, it's a black woman here to save the day. You gonna get him out. And tag teaming with the culture vulture herself, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian was like, look, the black women don't like me. I'm still gonna be fucking on these niggas. I'm still gonna use black culture and black aesthetics for my capitalistic gain. What's the thing that me and black women can bond over? Penis! Penis behind prison! Oh my god! Besties. 2 peas in a pod because you both are bearers of the dick. Ladies of the dick. Warriors of the dick. So that's what you can bond over. Saving black dick. Oh my goodness. I guess it's a secondhand embarrassment because I'm not invested. I'm not Monica. I'm not her friend. I'm not her kids. So I'm not invested in the least bit. But I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. But you know what? I even made a tweet about it. If Monica's with it and this nigga with it too, I would so be enthusiastically geeked if I saw them on the next season of Love After Lockup. Now, I like ratchet television as much as y'all like ratchet television. And one of my guilty pleasures is Love After Lockup. And it's not even because of like the theme of them coming out of prison, will their relationship work? It's really on some like, how do you miss that red flag? It's really on some like dissecting human nature, like seeing the buffoonery of it all, seeing the stupidity of it all, seeing the codependency of it all. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, what would Carl Jung say? I'm serious. If Monica's with it, bitch, I'ma be watching. I'm so gonna be watching. it's interesting how y'all turn these hood niggas into martyrs, into political prisoners. It's just so interesting. So interesting. And I guess before I close out, I'm going to mention Master P. I saw his little bootlegged ass video with the echoes and shit. I don't get why niggas still wearing sunglasses inside a house. Is you Ray Charles, nigga? Anyways, it don't even matter. Niggas think they cool, they not cool. Niggas want to be cool even when they 50, 60, 70. White men want power. Black men want cool points. Anyways. Let me move on. Cause you know I'm a whole troll. This is the perfect scenario of the Pookie and the educated lane. Right? This is some Cain and Abel shit, right? Master P, even in the hood, even in the trenches, wasn't this nigga like a triple threat? Wasn't this nigga playing basketball? He was about to get into the NBA. This nigga was a rapper. And this nigga was something else. He was like a triple threat something. Like, it was basketball, because, you know, niggas love basketball. It was basketball, rapping, and some other shit. But pretty much, the nigga had options. He got the straight money to make it legitimate, and then he got into the rap game. But the brother doubled down on the niggatry. And niggatry in New Orleans, baby, that niggatry goes deep. Okay, there's a lot of shit in New Orleans history that I just would not touch with a 50-foot pole. And it's not even because of New Orleans or judging New Orleans. Like, I'm from Haitian descent. So, like, I fuck with the energy of New Orleans. But there's just too many niggatry. There's too many corruption. Yes, even on the white side, there's too many corruption. There's too many nigga shit. There's no opportunities. Lack of access and resources. Like, there's just a lot. It's just a lot with New Orleans history. And even, like, the Louisiana Purchase, like, their history, like, them coming to be a state is out of a lot of turmoil, a lot of violence, a lot of this and the third. Just like the United States in general. Like, come on now. Like, the genocide of Native Americans and, like, the enslavement of African Americans or whatever the fuck y'all calling yourselves now. I don't know. AUS, I don't know. Whatever movement, whatever tagline, I don't know. But I'm just going to say African American because that's the one I remember using. So, like, there's just a lot of things there. But Master P was like, I'm not going to get got. I'm not going to live my life like these other niggas, dead or in prison. Especially since the Klansman was able to run for office. Duke, right? I'm not feeling to get my ass got. And the chain gangs I used to have in Louisiana and picking cotton, like, whew, New Orleans got Louisiana in itself got a whole history that, but with that voodoo shit, with that culture shit, with that black soul shit, that black soul in Louisiana, I could fuck with, because I'm a black person. But, in the culture and the food, like, all that. Right? But with the case study what we're seeing with Master P and his brother, Master P went the lame route, not educated, but the lame route, right? Going into corporate America, staying away from the street, not touching street money, not getting involved in criminality, being the square, right?
Not all black men are in the hood. Not all black men are in the streets. Not all black men are criminals.
He did the legit route, right? But the brother, he wanted to double down on nigga shit, niggatry, and he got his ass got, right? He took a fucking prison bid that wasn't even his. He wasn't even the trigger man. What about your friends? You ain't got friends when you fucking with niggas. Niggas are shiesty. Niggas are psychopaths. Niggas are narcissists. Niggas don't give a fuck. But you took a whole charge for niggas who's living their best fool lives, clapping all types of ass cheeks, theirs and other people. But you out wasting away in prison. Getting your nuts grabbed, getting your ass tapped, motherfuckers busting into your prison cell, your jail cell, whether it's COs and whether it's other niggas, right? Just predatory on 1,000 to the max. But when Master P was trying to help his brother out, he even mentioned in the video, I did everything for you. I got the lawyers. I spent the money. I came see you. I did everything for you. And your ungrateful Cain ass turns around and say that no one was rooting for you, that now Monica is now some type of social justice warrior and Kim Kardashian is trying to get the black woman votes by bonding over toxic ass nigger ass phallus, that you don't recognize the efforts that I done made for you, nigga? And he was hot. In his best Ray Charles throwback 2008 gear, like, he was hot, right? But this goes to show you, Blackistan loves the criminal element. Blackistan loves the hood. Blackistan loves the criminality, right? Because even when you try to do good, even when you try to better yourself, even when you try to go the square lane route, niggas gonna always diss you for a nigga in jail. And this is not to ride out for Master P, because Master P ain't shit. The way he did his ex-wife, he ain't shit. And the way Romeo is on this pseudo-Christian evangelical, yet I still like ratchet pussy, but I'm into white girls, but I'll take a black girl on some side chick shit. Like, I'm not with it. Your son ain't shit, you ain't shit, like, the collective ain't shit. I'm not interested. However, I just wanted to put my little few cents in there that black women continue embarrassing me. Niggas still do nigga shit. And even when you try to be the change, the black community won't let you. Even when you try to do better, right? The black community don't support that. Why? Because it's Blackistan. And niggas, there's something wrong with your nigga ass sons. I've been telling y'all, like, y'all don't like that. I know y'all don't like that. I know that gets under your skin, and I know that, like, really offends you. And I guess if I had a son, I'd feel some type of way too. But I love the truth. And it's not that I love the truth because the truth is always on my side. Sometimes the truth and me, we ops. But at the end of the day, the truth is, it's not my friend, it's not my enemy, it just is, right? Like, I'm just black, right? It just is. Y'all hate to see it that your nigga sons are a problem. But what you refuse to deal with will ultimately demolish you. And we see that, right? We see that with the femicide stats. We see that with the rape stats. We see that with the domestic violence stats. We see that with the poverty stats. We see that with the single mother stats. So, like, you don't have to take my word for it. You can hate me. You can not watch my face. Like, I'm totally fine with that. But, your nigga ass sons are still super predators. And y'all still goofies for the D. Now, I'm guessing Monica trying to get this wet ass pussy for the felon nigga. Hopefully he still is into pussy. Hopefully he's still into pussy. And on a more serious note though, she got 3 kids and they're under the age of 16, I believe. You feeling to take prison dick into your house? Are there going to be some type of vetting process, some type of boundaries? Because you got 3 kids under the age of 16. And one of them is a girl. You really want to take them chances with your young ass kids? And we already know the stats in Blackistan when it comes to black ass kids and the molestation and the rape. Do you want to take those chances, Monica? But then again, if you were going to spend 30, 40 years of your life chasing hood dick, then of course you wouldn't have no problem bringing hood dick to your motherfucking house where your kids sleep, where your kids stay. So, we'll see this saga unfold as it does, but I just want to put my little 2 cents out in there. So out in the universe, the YouTube sphere, and y'all let me know what you think. I am appalled, but I am not surprised. The reason why I'm really coming out mouth and I'm talking all this shit is the fact that this is a clear example of black women not growing the fuck up and not standing in their womanhood. You crushing over a nigga since you were in your late teens or early 20s. You're grown now. You're entering into the sage, the wise woman, the crone. And you haven't grown the fuck up. 9/11 done happen. Wi-Fi done happen. Fucking TikTok done happen. And this nigga has no correlation because this nigga in jail. This nigga's been in the past. He done had babies, done had women come up in and out of jail. That's why there's a chick falling out through the wayside talking about how she was a ride or die. She's 4 minutes from Angola and how she done put money on his books and how niggas in the industry really know that she a real ride or die. So now you fighting over prison dick before the prison dick even comes out. Because you want to hop off the porch and be an advocate for niggas. But the same niggas that you advocating for ain't advocating for you, because even Master P said this nigga don't show appreciation. Of course this nigga can't do shit for him. He's in jail. Of course this nigga can't give him money. He's rich. But at the very least, a nigga can be appreciative, can be humbled, can be sincere. But the nigga can't even do that, and he has all the time in the world, because you in motherfucking prison. But Monica taking her little fool-la-la ass looking like a whole idiot in these streets. That's why she was okay with Sharon Brown cheating on her, because she was already entangled with prison dick. Just like Jada was entangled. Ain't that nigga from Louisiana too? Ain't that nigga from New Orleans till August? So y'all industry bitches really love that hood Louisiana prison fucked up naked mentality dick. Like y'all really like that shit, huh? It brings a whole new meaning to make them say, Y'all love being entangled with that, huh? This is embarrassing. This is so embarrassing on a secondhand level. But the mammyism of it all, ride or die of it all, social justice of it all. It's embarrassing that you are of this class, of this success, of this accolades, and you're still a fucking social justice warrior. You're still advocating for niggas who wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. And while you was holding it down, coming to see him, check the call logs, check the prison logs. Bitch, you should have been checking the prison logs, because you ain't the only ride or die. But it's so fitting for niggas to do that shit. Because if niggas ain't loyal outside of prison, what the fuck makes you think they're gonna be loyal inside of prison? His daughters didn't tell you about the other woman that he was seeing now, did they? Yikes. Wowzers. Whoa.
Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb?
I'm not even gonna get into it. But these are my 2 cents. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Y'all bitches want to be and cosplay in the coldest winter so fucking bad. You want to be a hood ride or die, bitch. Y'all want to catch bullets. Y'all want to be like Remy Ma doing 52 summers and 83 winters just to come out of prison and be like, yeah. Niggas still ain't shit, even when you take a bit for them. Hey y'all, so I know what I'm going to talk about. Spirit is so good to me. Anywho, I'm going to tie in that stealthy video, my, I guess, response to, I don't know if I can say a response because it's really none of my business and like Monica really doesn't give a fuck. But like, I guess still my response to Monica, bug loving, ride or die, coldest winter ever. Mammyism. And I will tie it in with the Tomi. So let me do that real quick. So I guess Tomi made a video and she was talking about how men are trash. And she was saying how all of her white friends, she was trying to convey that whole solidarity thing because her angle is woman empowerment, and we'll break that down in a few. But she was trying to make it seem like we as a women, as a collective, have issues with men. However, not even 10 years ago, she was sucking the white conservative dick so hard. Like her tonsils were testicles, the way she was sucking it so hard. But now all of a sudden she's changing her position. So anyways, but she was trying to say that all her range of friends from the mid-20s to early 30s are all having issues with men. And she was trying to say like, this is between women who are successful, women who have accolades, women who went to school. So these aren't bum bitches, basically. Or in, I guess, white splaining, that would be trailer trash. So there's no hillbilly hicks in her circle, right? But she was trying to say like all her friends, no matter the size, the shades, and she was just trying to say white to peach to pale. I was like, is that the shades of white? I don't know. It was funny to me. But anyways, she was just trying to convey the message that men are trash. And it's not that I disagreed with her, as opposed to like what happened with trading in those tonsils of yours for testicles. What happened with you writing that O'Reilly train? What happened to you nut hugging and sucking on that Fox News rhetoric? What happened to you bouncing those A cups on Trump's paper thin lips? Like, what happened? What happened? I thought you were the front runner for the conservatives. I thought you were the white version of Silk and Diamond. Like, what happened? What happened? Did they cast you aside? Did they find a newer, blondier, big tittier version of you? Like, what happened? What happened, Tomi? You're not a baby mama, so you wasn't pumped and dumped. So what happened? I'm curious as to why you're declaring this "I am woman, hear me roar" stance against men when not even a decade ago all you wanted was white phallus. Like, what happened? Like what happened? What then happened was her angle, her goal, her bull's eye rhetoric didn't get her far. See, what should have happened was she should have been the Candace Owens in that conservative space, but she wasn't. Love Candace, hate Candace, I truly don't care. But Candace walks that walk, talk that talk. She's really about that conservative life. She really reads and embeds her knowledge and her ideology with the conservative thinking, with this conservative blueprint. Tomi looked the part. The blonde, the blue, the A-cup titties. Like, she looked the part. But she really wasn't about it, because before she was on that Fox News shit, she was a wild girl. She was a party girl. But then she found a way to luck up and change the way that she was going with this whole Breitbart, Trump, MAGA hat, Make America Great Again, all this conservative racist shit. She rode the wave and she was able to get into these spaces. But eventually, like all things, mask on, mask off, you're going to show your true colors. People are going to test your gangster. People are going to ask, are you really about this shit? And they're going to see that you are a social climber. They're going to see that you're not really about this life. And they're going to see that you have alternative motives. So you're going to get the boot. And it's an all boys club. They don't even like women to begin with. So you definitely going to get the boot. So now she's not able to finesse, and we don't really hear her name like that. She ain't really trending like that. Anybody no checking like that for her. All of a sudden,
We women, we collectors of the womb, we the bearers of life, we women, here is more. We need to come together as collective because did you hear? Men are trash.
and it's like, yeah, men have been trash. They were also trash when you was sucking the dick of Bill O'Reilly. They were also trash when you was riding that Breitbart wave. They were also trash when you were combing the toupee of Trump. Like, they were always trash, ma. They was always trash. But all of a sudden they trash now? What happened, sis? Did you not find solitude under his eye? What happened, Serena? So, don't take that shit too serious. Don't put any stock in that. Trust and believe me. If one of these incel, red pill, rejects, pussy hungry white boys with trust fund money enough to burn and spend, collect her 1-800 get a racist, get a Karen. She will be right back on that.
Sorry, I was going through my mental, instability. I was going through, mental duress, with the pandemic and, the Democrats electing or trying to elect Joe Biden. It was just so overwhelming, and I had a mental lapse, but trust and believe me, I'm all white patriarchy.
Trust and believe me, she will be switching sides really quick. Mask on, mask off. Pick a side, pick a side. She's on the side of whatever's going to collect her coinage, okay? So, let her cry her lily white, pure dove tears and let the conservatives stomp her out. Like, I truly do not care. I truly do not see sisterhood or solidarity in her. She's a rat-faced bitch, and I don't trust her for not a goddamn thing. And that's why the conservative space kicked her out. Now, me personally, I'm not the most conservative person. I am not the most liberal person either. I'm truly in the middle, somewhere in the middle. I can see more conservative ideologies meshing with minds, especially if we're talking about foundation, we're talking about legacy, we're talking about family, we're talking about policies. Like, there are certain things that I will align with, as well as hate the Republicans, love the Republicans. They're pretty much, it is what it is, deal with it. The Democrats will give you shit, but like sugarcoat it with like cocoa powder and tell you it's a brownie. No, the Republicans will be like, you know what, yeah, I do like Breitbart, and I do agree with Trump, and this is my MAGA hat, so what the fuck are you feeling to do about it? Good, better, and different. I really fuck with that energy because I just like transparency. I like honesty. I like the truth. And Tomi was none of the above, and that's why she got kicked out. But yeah, don't put no stock in this shit. She's definitely not an ally of women. She is not a feminist. She's not progressive. She's just hurt right now. She got rejected. She got curved. Maybe her sugar daddy dumped her for a younger thing. Like, I don't know. But like, what I do know is that she's a whole fraud. She's a whole fraud ass bitch. And don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the white girl tears. Don't believe the white girl fragility. She's just mad right now, but she'll strategize her next move, find her next sucker, and she'll be A-okay. She's not like she's a black woman in America. It's not like she's going to be discarded. But anyways, that's all I got. I'm pretty sure y'all are tired of hearing me. Y'all got 3 videos in one. And yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comment sections below. And I don't want to come across as I've never made mistakes or anything like that. It's just that at a certain point, your emotional development should like be completed. Like, it should be completed. At a certain point, you should be mentally well, emotionally well, where you're not chasing your teenage years, you're not chasing the male gaze, you're not chasing hood shit. You're a grown-ass woman with kids. When does a black woman's emotional intelligence fully develop? When do you really grow the fuck up and stand in your womanhood? And in all 3 discussions about womanhood and feminine energy and this, that, and the third, the common thread is when you go against your own best interest, you end up looking like a whole idiot in these streets. But when you hone in on your femininity, your authenticity, and you put your best foot forward, you succeed tenfold. And if you can get anything from this video, that's what I would want you to get from this video. Isn't it time for black women to live and live well? Be the best version of yourself by mastering yourself. And a part of mastering yourself is presenting in this world as your authentic self, discovering who you are and building on that, cultivating that, stepping into your true self. Because once you connect the dots and you really can hone in on your skill, your trait, and even if you have no skills, you have no trait, but you can finesse, you're a whole finesser in these streets, you're not only going to live, but you're going to thrive. And you are going to be a woman that other women not even envy, but admire and hope to be. But you got to take that first step, because no woman in history has ever made it into the books by being regular. And too many of y'all think chasing dick is the standard. Meanwhile, you end up in a situation like Monica, looking like a whole idiot in these streets. You never lose when you put yourself first, but you always, always, always look like a bozo, the clown, when you put others before yourself, especially when you're betting on that phallus obsession. Stop being dick hungry, dick thirsty, dick chasing, and get into some therapy. God damn it. 2021, we in therapy. Let's get it. In closing, thank you for the listeners for tuning in. You can find the Black Woman Vibes podcast on Facebook page, Black Woman Vibes, Instagram, Black Woman Vibes, Twitter, Black Woman Vibes, YouTube channel, Black Woman Vibes. Please like, follow, and share content. And don't forget to join the tribe of Black Woman Vibes. Also, head over to Facebook and Patreon to join the exclusive tribe and get access to content from members of Black Woman Vibes. On Patreon is where we openly have discussions behind the scenes that helps us as sisters grow and level up. Each one teaches us all. From live streams, advisory emails, speaking engagements, and consultation services, all can be found on Black Woman Vibes, Patreon, and Facebook. Isn't it time for Black women to live and live well? Be the best version of yourself by mastering yourself. I'll be back next Wednesday for a whole new episode of Black Woman Vibes. With all that being said, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I am your hostess with the mostest. So let's get to toasting. VC name. Signing off. Peace.